Trillions of dollars will be spent on infrastructure in the United States. The question is, how much of that is going to flow towards African Americans? That was the question I posed to Don Graves, who's a top official, Deputy Secretary for the Commerce Department of the Biden administration. Here's our conversation. Secretary Graves, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's get right to it. One of the things that our audience keeps focusing on is the impact for African Americans when it comes to this economy, especially when it comes to federal contracting, when it comes to this infrastructure bill. How was that being made a priority?
Well, Roland, thanks for having me on. And I guess I'll just start by saying this has been a priority of the president since day one, and actually long before day one. He knows that our economy can't be successful until every community in the country is brought into the bargain. And frankly, we've seen the numbers. If you look at the economic impact of inclusive opportunities in providing those opportunities to Black businesses and other minority businesses, that can lead to to trillions of dollars of increased GDP. So it's absolutely essential that we do this right now. That's why the president has focused on his Build Back Better agenda. It's why the infrastructure plan is so important right now. We need to get these dollars into communities, these investments to improve our roads, our bridges, to improve our drinking water by removing the lead pipes, by investing in broadband so that every community in the country has access to affordable, accessible, high-speed broadband. And we have to do it in a way that utilizes minority businesses. The Black businesses that for so long have been kept out of these types of opportunities, we're very focused on ensuring that every one of them has a better chance than they've had in the past, that our procurement folks are very focused on finding ways to bring more Black businesses to the table as these dollars go out. And it's something that the president did in the very first days of office, signing an executive order that made sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion were a significant part of every federal department in their procurement, in their hiring. So the president and the rest of us in the federal government are very focused on finding the ways that we can make sure that Black businesses have the opportunities that they need to succeed. They can hire folks from the community, and the community overall can see more economic vitality.
There was a column that ran yesterday in Barron's. It was written by Ursula Burns, Robert Smith, John Rogers, and David Clooney, of course, executive director of the Black Economic Exchange. And one of the things that they wrote in that particular piece is that they said that, this is what they wrote: currently only 5% of federal contracting dollars are required to go to minority and women-owned businesses, even though Black people alone account for approximately 13%. They are calling for that to be raised to 13%. They also say that there needs to be much better transparency in corporate spending by professional services category. So there are a number of things that they actually laid out there. And so is that also being considered? Because as they say, that 5% number is way too low.
Well, they're exactly right. That number is way too low. We're certainly looking at ways that we can increase the direct spending with minority businesses. We're looking at ways that we can make sure that every federal contractor, as they look at their contracting partners, that they're looking at utilization of minority firms. But as my friends wrote in that column, it's also about things like utilization of asset managers with the pension funds that the federal government oversees. It's looking at ways that we can ensure that there's diversity at the highest ranks of major corporations, because that's where the decision-making is done around which contractors, which businesses are used in their supply chain. It's making sure, and this is what the president has been really focused on, making sure that every federal agency represents the diversity of our country, so that we're putting people of color in the highest positions in federal agencies, because they're the ones who are going to be making both the contracting and hiring decisions, but also the policy decisions that will have an impact on whether or not our communities of color all across the country are going to be able to succeed and be built into this grand bargain.
But Secretary Graves, but that is one of the really difficult things that we still see trying to get over that hump. I can tell you we have had a very difficult time as a Black-owned media company, even trying to access the millions of dollars being spent when it came to communications for the COVID-19 vaccine. We have reached out to Forrest Marsh, the agency that actually has the contract with Department of Health and Human Services and CDC. No luck whatsoever. And so I think what's also important, and I've had this conversation with Susan Rice, with Cedric Richmond and others, and what has to happen is really listening to those of us who are a part of the process to show where the pitfalls are, because what we're still seeing is that for us, Black targeted Black media folks get dollars, not Black owned. And so those barriers have to be broken down. And when we see there's a study that was done, a commission or called for by Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton 3 years ago, that showed that $5 billion spent in federal government over 5 years, just 51 million went to Black-owned media. And so the disparities are even there with the federal government. And so what success stories have you already had in breaking down some of those barriers?
Well, Roland, I couldn't agree more. And part of this is about making more of this information available, transparent, and accessible. We here at the Department of Commerce, a lot of people think of us as the department that focuses on business. But what I like to think about is that we're actually the Department of Data, Information, and Innovation. And we really need to be the Department of People and Communities. So it's making the data that we have available around business practices, making more information available about how businesses utilize minority businesses. That information can help us reframe the discussion and the debate. I think you've seen the numbers that I have, but I think if we have better information that the Department of Commerce can help provide around the specific practices that businesses take in utilizing minority businesses, engaging with minority businesses, that we're going to have a very different conversation. But it's also doing things like with our Minority Business Development Agency, which we hope and expect once the infrastructure bill is passed, will get a significant plus up in funding, because it's going to require you said it. So many businesses weren't able to participate in things like PPP program and other COVID-related programs. Part of that is because they didn't have the credit and capital. Even when they had the know-how, they didn't have access to the funding to be able to grow, to handle those types of contracts. But it's also providing those businesses with the type of support that they need in legal, accounting, and in the financial services. Because I talk to businesses all the time who have said, well, I couldn't get the PPP program to work for me because I couldn't fill out the paperwork because I didn't have my charter documents, they weren't right, or I didn't have the 5 years or so of my tax returns ready. So it's a range of things that we can do, but it takes a whole of government approach. So every single agency in the federal government working together to increase access, increase opportunity, provide more capital, provide more technical support, and having the buy-in at the very highest level of every single agency. I can tell you at Commerce, I spend just a massive amount of my time focused on ensuring that we have an equitable opportunities and that we have a more just economy.
Well, we certainly look forward to that. And we also, with that $1.2 trillion being spent, we'll be looking for that to be really studied to make sure that those dollars are flowing to Black-owned companies. And so, Secretary Graves, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Roland.
Folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
folks, from Seek.com, black-owned company, founded by Mary Spio. Folks, got a couple of products that's for our listeners and viewers. This is their VR headset where you can watch their content, 360-degree video, as well as virtual reality video. Just pop your phone right into here, close it up, and then you can see that VR content. They got different color VR headsets. This one is blue and white. Y'all Sigmas will love that one. Of course, I prefer the black and gold one. That's the one I have at the house. You also, of course, I have their headphones. Greg, you'll like these here. They got the black and gold headphones, but Greg, you might like these all gold ones right here. You might like these right here. 360-degree sound as well. You can use this for gaming. You can use this, of course, for music as well, watching movies, all of that good stuff. Use the promo code RMVIP21, RMVIP21, if you want to actually get one of these two products. And, of course, when you purchase them, the resources portion of that comes back to us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered.